like listened to my Discover Weekly a few times. This song I was just like, nah. This is going straight into the playlist. Straight in. Alright, so, welcome guys. If you just joined us from GSL, you're watching the Douyu Star Masters number 12. We're just into our second series of the day. Round of 8 already though. That's the bottom right hand side. It's going to be our red Zerg player. From Team MVP, it is Departure, a 2-time champion I think of the Douyu Star Masters, maybe just 1 time. Maybe I can get the stats up and tell you guys that. Because I'm a god like that and I have a phone next to me which is able to check Wikipedia, so I may as well check. And to the upper left hand side, it's going to be our blue Zerg player. From Team Envy, is going to be viOLet. viOLet was actually very mannered this morning. He PM'd me and he's like, hey, are you casting today? I was like, yes. And he was like, cool, let me know if you want to join my games. I was like, oh, that's very nice of you to ask, viOLet. Very mannered guy. I actually met viOLet at DreamHack Leipzig, and I don't think he knew who I was, but he's a really cool guy, and we hung out and we partied together, had some drinks, had some shots. It was a good time had by all, really. Departure. Yes, Departure is a 2-time champion of the Douyu Star Masters. He actually won the last Douyu Star Masters last week. On Friday, he beat Natural in the finals. Before that, he won Douyu Star Masters number 5 against Super. Now, I did remember he beat Super. I just didn't remember that he'd... I didn't remember Friday's last week, which was a bit silly. I can remember the one that was 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I can't remember 5 days ago, you know? A little bit crazy. As we set up into... The ZvZ early on has been a fairly standard opening from both. Hatch first, into gases, and a spine crawler coming up for both. So actually, so far, complete mirrored builds. viOLet just a couple drones down. Something along the way, he's just a little bit slower, and perhaps actually it looks as though Departure took a slightly later gas, so maybe Hatch pool gas. And he's just had a couple of slightly earlier drones because of that. So he will have a slightly later Zergling speed, and we'll see if viOLet's able to do anything with that. I've always admired people that solo cast. That shit's hard to do. So much easier when you have 2 minutes in the game and you don't have to constantly talk non-stop. Well, in my opinion, it's so much easier when I don't have to listen to someone else blabbering about StarCraft when I just want to talk about what I want to talk about. So it's like such an odd preference, but I don't know. Like, the thing I enjoy about cast is I literally just kind of get to speak my mind, right, and discuss the games in my head and kind of think about things and say what I'm thinking. Now, I got co-casters, like, I've got to listen to them, I've got to think about what they're saying. Like, do you know how much effort all of that is to do, to, like, actually think about what these guys are talking about? Like, man, like, and if they say something wrong, like, I got to disagree with them, or shit like that. If I say something wrong, they disagree with me, and then I get upset, and, co-casting, man. Blech. Co-casting is actually really good when you've got a really good co-caster with you. But I think when you've only got kind of a... it depends, like, you really do, I think, need a good co-caster, or at least I do. Well, maybe not, but I mean, I think the better your co-caster, if you don't have a good co-caster, I think it really hurts your own performance. So, obviously, I think certain casters can carry, and we see that oftentimes. Let's talk about this in a moment. We've got some aggression coming in from viOLet trying to break this front, but isn't being too successful. We saw him taking down an overlord of his opponent before. He's maybe going to force a cancel on, what, 1 Eva? And the Roach Roar, and actually that gets killed, no cancel. So actually delays the roaches from coming up here, which is nice. But there's lots of queens. The thing is, though, viOLet is being, is keeping his opponent on 2 bases. So that's nice while he sets up into his own 3rd base. And he'll catch up on drones behind this. So this is actually kind of nice. So yeah, I feel as though we do quite often sometimes see, if you see kind of like someone like Rotty, for example, with someone who's, very rarely when you cast with someone who isn't as experienced, you'll see Rotty can kind of generally carry the cast, right? But it's kind of like, I don't know, like, I feel as though if you don't have a good co-cast, it can affect your own performance, because you've got to kind of conform to what they're saying, and, work with them, and if they don't make it easy to work with you, it can be very, very difficult, and then you sort of come off as though you're kind of controlling the cast, and then if you're controlling the cast, like, maybe people are like, well, why doesn't he give him, his friend a chance to speak and stuff like that, and I don't know. Nice that we're coming in from Departure, so he's going to get very aggressive here very quickly. This is going to work out. I mean, viOLet's going into +1. He's going into his own roaches. He's not necessarily being super greedy. He's only 8 workers ahead. He's going to spot the Nidus network. He's actually going to try and target that down. Realize that's not going to work because there's queens to transfuse. And that Nidus is going to start coming in towards his main base. So can viOLet hold on? It's going to be a very close defense. I think he should be able to, though. I mean, we look at this. He's got roaches on the way out. Balins, too. It's just about grouping their units together. However, plenty of queens here as well. That will help Departure as we set up into this. As we see the roaches and queens coming in. Violet's just going to evacuate his main. I mean, if he loses the lair, if he loses his spawning pool and his Evo chamber, I mean, okay, it's not great, but it's not the end of the world. It's all about just sort of getting enough units and surviving here overall. If he ends up on 2 gold bases, that's fine. Eventually, he will retake this main base. We'll see a couple of those Zerglings starting to go down. We're going to see a few more roaches popping out of that Nidus. And again, Violet, though, I mean, still, he's 13 workers ahead on double gold base, though. So, I mean, he's kind of a little bit oversaturated. He's really building a spawning pool. And he's got roaches on the way out still. Another Ravager coming up. The hatch goes down. The Evo chamber isn't found in the back of this base. And that's really important for Violet because if that Evo chamber goes down, that's his +1 dead. It's 10 seconds away, so his +1 will finish. I'm surprised Departure doesn't go after that. That's a big advantage Violet's going to have in this game now. His opponent will not. I love this creep tumor, by the way. That's just to block the... it's actually really annoying because it blocks the hatchery. And while he blocks the hatchery, he's going to basically be able to, well, hold that fort because this could be interesting because Violet does have +1 advantage, but he's getting outnumbered here as he comes down. Corrosive Biles are not going to land at all. He's actually going to retreat up this ramp. 10 more roaches on the way for him. They're not here just yet, but he might be able to sort of surround his opponent, but he's looking to let his opponent straight up into his natural. He comes back down, a couple more Corrosive Biles, forces his opponent away, actually gets a roach with those. There's more roaches on the way out for him. Them transfuses, though, from Departure going to make life difficult. You're going to see Corrosive Biles coming down once again. Queen does fall here as we see Violet trying to make it up his own natural ramp to defend. That being said, now these units are sort of trapped in. Violet will pull drones in, and he can afford to lose a few, but not too many. As he continues to try and hold on against this, these Ravagers continue to add a lot of DPS into this. As the Queens run out of transfusers, this will become a much more even fight, and it will sort of go Violet's way, especially with the +1 upgrade lead. Violet now can kind of expand behind this, or drone up behind this. He's a few workers down, but he can get back into this a little bit. The one thing he's really missing out on is the fact that this Crypt Tumor, again, will be blocking his main hatchery. And he's also not started up the lair anywhere just yet either, so he's missing that. He's got to rebuild a queen. He is expanding actually to the left-hand side gold base here. His Departure just now moving off of 2 bases himself, so very weird game, not usually what you would see, not the kind of standard. Actually that's really smart using the Corrosive Biles to get the Crypt Tumor, that's really nice. So he gets rid of that and he'll be able to retake that hatchery when he wants to now. As we'll see, maybe just he's going to leave his Ravagers there, maybe just want to leave a roach on the edge of this base just to spot for a Nidus network coming in. Violet actually gets a good position here now though, he can counterattack. As he counterattacks, I mean, he doesn't have roach speed, does he? No, Departure does. But Departure doesn't have +1, and that's huge. Obviously, Violet there can't go into +2, but he can go into his +1 Carapace. And as we're going to see these roaches and Ravagers coming across from Violet. And there's a few roaches from Departure, but that +1 already in play here. I mean, okay, he doesn't have the roach speed, so his engagements aren't as effective, but still, man, he's got so many Ravagers, so many roaches. He, first of all, outnumbers Departure, but not only that, he's also just going to straight up have them upgrades, which give him a huge lead as well. Corrosive Biles coming down, and well, Departure backs away a little bit late from that. Violet's attacking through a choke point, though, and that could be the one thing which really helps Departure out in this, as then Corrosive Biles continue to come down, and well, does Violet have enough here? The Ravagers are falling for his opponent, and it looks as though he might, and Corrosive Biles does such a great job of... Oh, look at that. Corrosive Biles is going to cancel a couple of roaches on the way up. That's great as well. It looks as though Departure doesn't have enough. It looks as though Violet will take game number 1 in this best of 3 in the quarterfinals of today's Douyu Star Masters. Great game by him. Very well played. Very well defended in the end. Obviously, he's realized he couldn't fight against it straight away. He made the right decisions to hold on and took the fight when he knew he could take the fight and really make sure he was going to win this game. +1 about to finish up for Departure, but at this point he's just so far behind it doesn't really matter. We're going to see GG Violet taking game number 1 of this quarterfinal Douyu Star Masters. And like, just my phone, like, I listen to a couple of Discover Weeklies, tracks and stuff like that. I like sat there for like an hour, like every single song is too good to stop listening to. It's like, oh my god, amazing. Loved it. I was living my life last night, I really was. Let's go into this, to the bottom right hand side of the map from Envy. It's going to be our red Zerg player, ladies and gentlemen. Let me hear it if you're cheering on Violet. Violet never plays as purple, as Violet, you know. That bothers me. No, it doesn't bother me here. Blue and purple would be not great to cast, but I've never seen him do it a single time from my recollection. Then again, I guess I don't have the best memory. As we set up into this, going to be a pool first from Violet, which is a reasonable decision here on Frozen Temple to top left-hand side from Team MVP. It's our blue Zerg player Departure. So yeah, the reason that the pool first is very viable and a very good choice of build here on Frozen Temple is because it's a fairly short rush distance map, but more so than that, The problem is it's got multiple attack pathways which are still relatively short rush distance for 13-12. And that means that if your opponent goes 13-12, you're not necessarily going to see this. You know, not necessarily that you're going to see this, but how do you say it? Like, you know, basically, because of 13-12, you kind of sneak lings around the map, right? We see it on all the maps, you know, you see them trying to sneak around the sides. That's why Pro and Terraces were very good for it early on in Legacy of the Void and so on. And if you don't see the first lings, you don't know what you're up against for a long, long time, until basically Banelings are rolling into your natural and the Zerglings running across the map with speed as well. So it's very interesting, and even here, actually, Violet with the pool first is going to sneak a few lings around the side, and this is not going to be spotted by Departure, and so Violet's going to look to get some damage done here. You know, maybe you can pick off a queen, maybe you can get a drone or two, something like that. It's going to be very, very, you know, there's a lot of different possibilities here for Violet with these early lings, so either it helps him defend, or you can even get him aggressive himself. Very, you know, very, very possible. As you can see, these Zerglings coming in and just gonna, well, they're gonna be spotted now, but there's only 2 lings currently out for Violet, for Departure. As Violet gonna come in, and actually Departure, he is pulling them lings back. And as these drones are under attack, under fire, he has to be a little bit careful. Queen's about to pop, as them drones pulling away. And if nothing else, Violet has forced some lost mining time here, while he begins to set up himself. As we'll see, the drones should be able to be saved now. They're in a mineral line, and I'm gonna see them lings just come in a moment or two. Doesn't actually get a link kill, loses one of his own Zerglings. Departure does have that faster Zergling speed and does have Bane Nest on the way up as well. And these few lings just going to be continuing to move around. They will continue to fall. And Violet in the end doesn't get too much done, but is catching up on drones, going into his own link speed. He's got his own Bane Nest on the way up. Just needs to make sure he's safe against the initial kind of stuff here from his opponent, as that trade in the end does go sort of the way of Violet. Them lings are moving across the map. Queen is out in the center chasing an Overlord away, but that's way out away from the creep spread, and that could get caught here if Zerglings speed up. And these lings, well, they're actually just going to morph into Bane straight away. Violet has his own lings on the way, needs to get these into Banes as soon as possible to help defend that Bane Nest. So you can see it is just a few seconds away from completing. As we're going to see the Banelings starting to morph in. Now, Queens will be able to sit on the ramp and defend here initially. One of these Queens has enough one transfuse, the other does not. As then Banelings, well, he wants to try and obviously target fire the Banes down with the Queens. That would be ideal, as we see right now. Well, doing an okay job with these drones. Oh, where do they want to go? I'm not too sure, as Banelings crash on in. And, well, actually, to be fair, Violet's sort of done a good job of defending, but at the end, the Banelings do get a lot of damage as well. He targets down one more Bane there, pulls them Zerglings back away from it. And he's going into the big round of drones to try and catch back up, but Departure goes into another round of Zerglings to keep up the pressure while he takes a third base of his own. That's kind of weird, like these Banelings were like running around the drones for a long time, and he actually hadn't lost a lot of drones until the very end. 2 Banelings down here, connected with kind of 4 or 5 workers, and that really was what put Violet behind. Now we do see a couple more defensive Banes on the way up, and of course defensive Banes are the majority of what you need alongside good control to defend any number of Zerglings. So we see Departure already leading the charge with a couple of lings. We're going to see Violet is going to be trying to see what's up. He sees the rest of them Banes, sees the rest of them lings, so he knows there's more pressure coming in. He's going to try and set up a little bit of a wall here to work with. He's got a few more lings coming in. He's actually still droning. Oh wow, Violet is very confident right now about this. Even, you know, considering he's seen all of these Zerglings, he's very confident about this. As we have a few lings out for himself, he's going to start up another Eva Chambers. Oh, well, a bit in connection like that, and already we're going to have to see Departure just turn away. And okay, Violet's going to have double Evo, a Rotron, a little bit of a worker lead, but not for long. But he doesn't have a third hatchery, so that's the one thing still going Departure's way right now, when we kind of have an overlook as to what's going on in this game. Zerglings Banelings is just going to be falling back. Violet trying to get across the map to just sort of see what's going on. See if he can scout. He sees that third base is up for his opponent, so just assessing the situation, kind of putting together the pieces of the puzzle, which is this game of StarCraft, as we see the third hatch coming down for Violet. And we just see Creep Spread actually pushing out for him as well, so connecting up his base is something which Departure's doing as well, but just not kind of committing as much to. He's only got 1 active creep teamer compared to the kind of 3 or 4 of Violet right now. Violet going into the +1/+1 upgrades, and so this is something Departure might be looking to try and punish here. With Roaches already on the way, he's going to maybe look to try and just punish Violet for basically having so much committed into upgrades right now. I mean, +1/+1, you know, there's a reason we don't see double Evo upgrades quite often from Zerg players, because it's very greedy, and it means that you're not as likely to be able to defend when it comes to that sort of point in the game. We're going to see these couple of lings running in, and well, Departure just continuing to make Roaches right now, and will really just spamming as many of these out as he can. He's already up to 10. He's got 3 more in production. He will reinforce with Zerglings. He's even got a lot of gas to morph in Ravagers too. And Violet currently 25 army supply behind. Well, is he going to be able to do anything about this? Of course, as well, Departure does have the does have the kind of, well, he'll have the Ravagers. Now, Violet will have kind of soon, very soon, upgrades. However, with upgrades coming in, they're not here just yet, and so the question is, can Departure attack before the upgrades? So this big Roach Bane time is getting ready to go, and I mean, Violet sees this with his Overlord. He's got to decide what he wants to do about this. His Spine Crawl at the frontier is not going to last very long at all. He might even just have to pull back and sort of just... I mean, can he give up the third base though? Because his Roach Warren's going to be very vulnerable if he runs into his natural. Zergling's coming in. Yeah, Violet's in a lot of trouble here. These Roaches are going to start getting surrounded immediately. These Banelands not really being used. 1 or 2 of them going off down to the south side. +1 missile attacks is done. The burst damage on these Banelands is something which we're really missing from being used right now from Departures. Violet going to start splitting, trying to minimize the damage here. Trying to make the Banelands really work for their damage. As we'll see, Violet still just trying to get a few more Roaches out. Try and help defend. He is slowly getting this up, but he's just not got enough Roaches. And they're all kind of coming in from multiple different locations. Some Zerglings going to come down this ramp as well to try and help out. And, well, Violet's going to begin making this happen with 1-1 upgrades in as well. It will help a lot. Even his Zerglings here are going to have kind of that extra little kind of usefulness to them. As Violet, he's just going to have to type out GG. But in the end, it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Those points where Violet was within kind of 10 army supply of his opponent. On in. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see what's going to be going on. To the top right-hand side is going to be our red Zerg player from Team Envious. It is Violet. Down to the bottom left is going to be our blue Zerg player from Team MVP. It is Departure. And if there is a remix to that song, please do give me a name. You can't link it, I don't think, because I think it would. The bot will probably ban you because it would be a kind of URL links. But please do share the name. I'll check it out. I'm not going to play it on the stream because we just listened to it, but we'll check it out as we see both players. Here on Dusk Tower is going to go for Hatchery first, and they're both going to opt to go for the Hatchery first in their kind of low ground natural expansion. As you can see, the well, both players just setting up, and a couple of drones on the way down. As gases will be taken, and spawning pools drop down as well very shortly. Looks like Violet actually going to go... Okay, he's going to go gas as well, just a little bit later, by a few seconds. So both players just setting up very similarly here. Spawning pools going to be at the same time, and we get into this straight away. Awesome. Let me take a picture of the chat while you suggest music, because I'm a big music fan. I love music. It's one of the great things about streaming, the fact that I get to listen to music between games. It's really great. Right, I've taken a photo of it so I can remember. Thank you very much. Taco Stuff, what's up? How you doing today, buddy? Welcome to the stream. How's everyone doing in the chat, guys? I want to know how you're doing today. It's Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. We are on the way to 1 million views here on the channel. We're just moving through life. Hope you guys are all doing well as we set up into our series here. Wait to see what's going to happen and how things are going to go as we see just a couple of queens on the way up for Violet. Departure just moving across the map with this Overlord, and I mean both players just setting up here early on, Zergling speed on the way, and nothing really too kind of surprising at all currently here on Just Towers. Now this is a map where it is hard to kind of Ling Bane pressure because you can't even get into the natural without queens blocking the ramp, so we're very likely to see kind of Ling Bane and maybe a bit of harassment onto third bases. But for the most part, we'll probably see, for the most part, we'll probably just see, kind of, you know, a little bit of Ling Bane kind of just to, you know, pressure the third base of each player, but then mostly just go more or less straight into Roaches. Let's see, third hatcheries are going to start dropping down from Violet and from Departure. Violet's just a couple seconds behind here, but he is 1 drone up, so I mean, there's, you know, very slight differences from both players currently, which is, of course, expected. You know, both players have very slight different ways in which they like to do their builds, or maybe they're just slightly different mining times or whatever. Overall, very similar mirrored builds so far, as them Zergling speed is going to finish shortly, and Violet getting a good scout of his opponent's base here, something which Departure has not had the chance to do just yet, but probably will as this Zergling speed comes up. Big round of drones from Departure from Violet. Well, he's supply blocked, so we don't know what he's going to be making just yet. I feel as though he might just make Zerglings just to defend after being in a supply block. No, he's just going to go into drones too, so both players are going to kind of play a gentleman's ZvZ. Neither player going to be super aggressive at all, and just going to both saturate third bases and just go straight into kind of Roach-based play, or maybe Muta-based play as well. We actually haven't seen Mutalisks yet in this ZvZ series, so that's maybe something we could see coming up here very soon. You're going to see an inject onto the hatchery. You're going to see a couple of, one queen coming down to this low ground. And it's getting ready to inject on the third base as well here in the next couple of moments. Lair on the way up for both players. A couple of extractors being added on as well from Departure. And that does signify to us that it's probably going to be some muteless base play out of him as he goes into all of his gases currently available to him. Well, I guess the third base is up now as well. But just, I mean, without a Spire, you don't need all the gases straight away. Actually, viOLet can do the same. His extra gas is on the way up right now. His Lair is on the way down. And there's going to be some muteless versus muteless action here on Dusk Towers for Game 3 of this series to decide who moves into the semi-finals on the same side of the bracket as True and Psyarch. Again, down to the bottom side of the bracket, we have Natural, Keen, Ayasonu, and probably Zycart, the favourite down there. Psyarch and Zycart, very similar sounding names. Very similar sounding names. Fine here, Woody, says Dark as the Void. How you doing today? Well, you just telling me how you're doing. Thanks for dropping by the stream, dude. Just hoping the ZvZ doesn't become a bugfest. Well, yeah. I mean, ZvZ is one of these matchups where it can be very cool to watch, or it can be very dull to watch. And I feel so far we've seen... Sorry, I'm not observing because I'm putting a hoodie on. I feel so far in this game we've actually seen kind of the better side of ZvZ, where we've seen some kind of funner games, more interesting games, back and forth games. More so than just the 13-12 Ling Bane burst, one player isn't ready and just dies, you know? As we're going to see the Ling's just coming in, and well, Baneland looking to try and connect on from Departures. Well, Survivor's actually going to make into the main base, but now he's sort of trapped here with these Zerglings, so continue to look around, he'll find that Spire. He's actually trying to fight these Zerglings here in the natural, and that's actually really nice, so pretty good trade there. He kills off a drone too. I'm just kind of trying to get scout information, I guess, more than anything. I feel as though Departure kind of comes out ahead in that as he cleans those up. And we're just looking to see what's going to happen next. Plus, Spy on the way for both players, and I think both players at this point know that it's kind of mutalistic play, so they should go into Flyer Carapace upgrade, which is kind of better for Muta versus Muta than that Flyer attacks because of the way the kind of glaives work for the Mutas, the kind of splash damage bouncing attack sort of thing. viOLet starts with a few Mutas as well, starts with his Flyer Carapace. So far, again, just very similar builds, both players on very similar work accounts, and actually, Departure maybe just a little bit ahead. He's got a little bit more gas already in the bank. He's got a few meters already on the way extra. And so that's probably going to be just a little bit kind of advantageous for Departure. Maybe envious viOLet. Going to have to take the kind of slower route in this game, just the more defensive route with meters, and use the queens to help defend. And just sort of kind of go from there. As we're going to see the meters just taking down this Overlord in the center. Overlord is going to fall. You're going to see Mutas and Lings for viOLet over here. A few Balins just moving up to the high ground. Spinecrawl going to come down the ramp. And you'll see that Spinecrawler starting to come into play. A few Lings positioned to the right hand side as well from Departure. More and more Mutas on the way up. Neither player really wanting to commit to the other side of the map just yet, because generally the aggressor is going to be at a disadvantage because of the shorter reinforcement distance that the defender will have. viOLet is setting up into Spore Crawlers though, and again, he's not got too many mutas compared to his opponent. He's on what, like 13 against 17, and there's already 3 more for Departure, so viOLet is really just behind right now in terms of mutalist count, and you're going to really have to just hope that Departure maybe overcommits to a fight across the map here, or do something different. He's going to add an Infestation Pit, so obviously if your Infestors added in, just make his mutas very, very scary if you can land a couple of Fungal Growths. +1 flyer attacks will finish shortly. Flyer Carapace will finish shortly. Question will be, do the players go for the +1 flyer attacks, which will finish faster and have more an effect on the game sooner? Or do they play defensively and go for the +2 Carapace and just wait for that to finish? Looks like there'll be +1 flyer attacks from Departure. He's trying to harass a little bit here, tries to get gas. Let's see what the upgrade will be from viOLet as he continues his tech here. He actually goes straight into a Hive, so maybe looking for Vipers here rather than the Infestors to fight against this. As you don't see him going into further mutalisk upgrades just yet. Lots of Zerglings right now. And Departure, if he attacks, could get a lot of damage done because, well, viOLet doesn't really have enough set up to really defend against this, you know? I mean, I guess he's got Spores, he's got a Spine, but off into the main base we go as mutas for viOLet will turn and fight. He will have a bit of an advantage there just because of the fact that Spores have done a bit of damage already. viOLet's got to go into multiple locations right now to defend against this. Then Ling's still streaming across the map here. Mutas are going to look to come back in towards the 4th base. As overall, viOLet, he's dropped about 10 workers so far. Mutas still looking to move around and clean on up, but it's just Departure seems to have had just a better opening, and from that he's just had so much more stuff. more drones earlier as Mutas still fighting against Spokers. Transfuse gets dropped here for a couple of moments. And we see the Mutas coming towards the front here for viOLet. He'll clump up and he will sort of take that fight onto his opponent. Hiver's about to finish for him, so again, Viper's will be on the way soon, but he's now 15 workers down in this game. And Departure's still just running in here as Zerglings get a lot of damage done. Mutas are going to move their way, or work their way through this fourth base. And the fourth base will go down. As you see, the Mutas, the Zerglings, all just going to pull back down towards the bottom left-hand side. viOLet going to be able to set up the fourth base here once again if you'd like to, but the Mutas come in, kill off that drone, so he can't do that anymore. Going to see the spores continue to go down. We're actually going to see both players starting to commit to a fight here, and Departure is very confident he's got enough to fight against this. viOLet trying to bring a spore crawl in, but I think it is Departure just has too many Mutalisks, and that will be GG. Departure takes game number 3 and just move into